Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for the Fire and Situation Report for today, Tuesday, August 4th, 2015. For our noon broadcast here, we welcome you to get the latest on the fires and the weather that we're facing here in California that are making these fires so much more aggressive. Now, as of today, we have nearly 24 large active wildfires burning across California, most of those in the north part of the state, the same fires we've been talking about for several days. Now, firefighters have made progress on several fronts. I want to jump right over to our statewide Google interactive map where you can see on this map here, the fires that are in gray with the blue circle, those are fires that are contained. So right here on this map, about 8 fires that have been contained over the past several days. Now, these are large fires that are contained because just last week, in a 7-day period, CAL FIRE crews responded to over 300 new wildfires. Now, those 300 new wildfires are part of over 4,200 fires that we've responded to since the beginning of the year. That's 1,500 more fires that we've seen this year and that we've responded to this year than we would for the same time period in an average year. That means fire activity has been high. Obviously, one of the biggest impacts of this drought has not only been the ability for fires to spark and to spread very quickly, but also the intensity of those fires, which we'll talk about in just a little bit with the Rocky Fire. Now, this week on our weather, we are expecting normal temperatures today throughout much of California. That's going to be nice. That's going to be a good opportunity for firefighters to really make progress. On several areas, though, we are going to see the winds pick up, especially on the Rocky Fire, which we'll talk a little bit about in just a little bit. The winds coming out of the east may push this fire in another direction. In fact, one of the struggles on the Rocky Fire has just been how erratic the winds have been pushing this fire in several different directions. Now, tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms are expected in the northern part of the state, especially the northeast part of the state. So up along the north coast, in Siskiyou, Modoc, Lassen counties, all of those areas we are on high alert for the potential of additional dry lightning sparks. In fact, it's the lightning that has really kept us very busy up in the north part of the state. Here's Northern California. It's hard to see Redding right here. Each of these logos that has the lightning spark, that's not just one fire, that's representing a complex fire. Now, a complex actually may include anywhere from half a dozen to nearly 100 lightning sparked fires that are all being managed as one incident. So we have several large lightning complex fires. I want to talk about a couple of them. The Mad River Complex is burning in Trinity County. The Fork Complex, another one. I zoom in a little bit more, you can see all the perimeters of these fires just pocking the Trinity and Humboldt County areas. This is the Humboldt Lightning Complex that our crews have been working on for the last several days. About 3,200 acres have burned, 20% contained. Again, that's down here in the southeastern portion of Humboldt County. The good news here, yesterday, evacuations in the Bloxburg area were lifted here in the southeastern portion of Humboldt County as progress has been made. Again, today, still 20% contained. Zooming in over here, though, back over to Trinity County along Highway 3, that's where we're seeing a lot of fire activity. You can see some very large fires burning in the South Complex. Also over here, the Fork Complex and the Mad River Complex. These are all fires that are being mainly on the National Forest. Now, on the Fork Complex, that's a fire that we are in unified command on with the U.S. Forest Service. In fact, that fire now 8,000 acres. Now, we had reported that it was over 20,000 acres. So strategically, what we have done, especially with the Forest Service, is we've actually taken many of these fires and actually broken them up into different complex fires, managing them separately to help allow us with the significant number of fires in general. The River Complex, that's the South Complex. The South Complex up here kind of in the western side of Trinity County, that complex is now 11,000 acres in total. Another one of the complexes is down here. That's the Mad River Complex. In total so far, the Mad River Complex, almost 14,000 acres have burned there. That's near Ruth Lake. So significant fire activity down here in the southern portion of Trinity County. Just to give you some perspective, here's Highway 3. This right here is the community of Hayfork, I believe. Yep, here's Hayfork. Hayfork is still seeing a lot of fire activity all around it. Up here on the north, around the south portion is the Fork Complex. The north portion over here is another one of those complexes. So significant lightning activity across the north part of the state, and we'll again continue to have that risk in the northeastern portion of California, especially going into tomorrow with those dry thunderstorms. Again, dry thunderstorms expected to start hitting our areas Wednesday through probably Thursday. Now, with that dry lightning also comes dry temperatures, warmer temperatures. So our temperatures, while they've been cooler this past weekend and the last couple of days, that's expected to end. So we'll go back up a little bit with our temperatures. Humidity will be down. The lightning risk will increase. And then with the dry conditions that we're already experiencing, the likelihood of lightning-sparked fires definitely will increase. So that is a concern for us. Now, for many, the largest fire currently burning is the Rocky Fire. Let's jump right to where exactly that is burning. It is just to the east of Clear Lake. Now today, I should say yesterday, it was very active. Here's the latest perimeter map on that fire. You can see here, here's Clear Lake. Here's the community of Clear Lake right here. This fire has continued to progress in size. 65,000 acres in total have burned. Now, we were really working hard to hold it at Highway 20 yesterday. Unfortunately, with the winds that picked up and with the increased fire activity, this fire has jumped over Highway 20. You can see there is a portion right over here that is on the other side of Highway 20. Again, our continued concern is that the winds start to blow out of the west, or excuse me, out of the east. That may push this piece right here, that jump 20, continue pushing it further to the north and even potentially to the west. So this is all part of our pre-planning. Again, we brought in a lot of resources, over 3,200 firefighters today battling this fire 24 hours a day, but it's those dry conditions we've talked about the last couple days. In fact, if you weren't watching yesterday, we talked about that over the weekend, this fire grew 20,000 acres in just a 5-hour period, so a significant fire growth. Now, there are still evacuations in place. In fact, this area up here on the north side of Highway 20, Double Eagle, Walker Ridge, they were already evacuated earlier. So we had already evacuated this area because we knew that this fire with its intensity was headed that direction, so we wanted to get people out of harm's way. For you, those of you that may be living in Lake County, Clear Lake and Lower Lake communities just to the west of this fire, the area from Highway 53 all the way east to the fire area, a good portion of this is under an evacuation advisory, letting people know you may have to leave. And with the erratic fire behavior that we continue to see, especially up in this direction, that still remains a heavy possibility. Now, in this perimeter, in total, there are hundreds and hundreds of homes, and then when you include a little bit larger of an area around it, especially Clear Lake and Lower Lake, now we're talking thousands of homes. In fact, we estimate that there are about 5,500 homes that are both in the evacuation mandatory evacuation order areas, as well as those that are been advised that there may be an evacuation coming. Today, over 13,000 people are in those evacuation orders, including the advisory areas. So a large amount of people that are still on standby. So far, this fire has destroyed, it's been very destructive, over 24 homes as well as a number of outbuildings. Now, all throughout this perimeter are hundreds of homes with firefighters who their sole job on this fire is structural defense, protecting that home the best that they can, making sure that as this fire continues to burn and as it continues to progress, that we're taking a stand to protect homes. Life and property are #1 priorities on a fire like this. So again, for those just joining us, the Rocky Fire has now burned 65,000 acres. We do have the fire 12% contained. So there is a little bit of good news here as we continue to make good progress on the fire, but it's those erratic winds that are making it difficult. And when you get a fire this big, 65,000 acres, it's starting to get so hot and so intense that in many cases, it's creating its own weather pattern. It's creating its own winds. In fact, we had reports over the weekend that winds were coming out of the east, but the fire was still progressing to the west, going into the wind, because those dry conditions, the heat from the fire, enough to really push this fire in that direction. So 65,000 acres in all, 3,200 homes, 3,200 firefighters battling this fire. It continues to be a big concern. I want to show you some video that was shot. This is going to show you just an idea of some of the aircraft that we brought in Right now, we have a dozen air tankers flying in the air. CAL FIRE Air Base out of Santa Rosa. The large air tankers that we'll show in a minute here coming out of McClellan. But we've also brought in helicopters. This is a Chinook helicopter. This is a military aircraft from the California National Guard. One of many, actually one of 9 military helicopters that are out fighting the fires across California. Now, CAL FIRE owns the largest air fleet in the world. We have the most air tankers and helicopters and wildland air fleet in the world. But when we get this number of fires, we have to call in reinforcements to help augment our staffing to hit even harder. This right here, a C-130 making a retardant drop. This is a C-130 Air National Guard aircraft from Channel Islands. 2 more of them have been brought in from the Air Reserve in Colorado. So in total right now, 4 military aircraft. That's on top of the large air tankers, DC-10 that we have right now. Several other large and very large air tankers that are battling these fires. But what they're doing, dropping retardant load after load ahead of the fire, working to slow it down so that when the fire progresses to that point, they get into the area that is now been coated by the retardant, and that fire, that punch, the heat of that fire is really taken out, and that's when firefighters on the ground are really able to make containment. So this right here is Tanker 6, or MAFS 6. Again, it has a modular air firefighting system that's inside of it. Again, here's a closer shot of the Chinook helicopter dropping water right there on the fire. It's hard to see from this camera angle, but where this copter is dropping, there's crews down there all along the edge, bulldozers, hand crews, firefighters, fire engines, all working to contain the blaze. So a lot of activity occurring on the fire, trying to, again, slow it down. We'll switch back over to our Google map and just zoom out one more time and do a brief overview. So again, if you're just joining us and you missed the top of our report here, about 24 wildfires in total burning in California. Several of them contained overnight, several new ones ignited. In fact, we had a new fire up in Nevada County, actually Yuba County, the Francis fire, 75 acres, 50% contained. That's one of the new fires that sparked. But with that, some of the older fires that we've been reporting on have contained. The Pines fire, that was burning on the Angeles National Forest. It's now 100% contained. So as we make progress on several ends, we release those resources from those fires and we move them to the active fire. So again, a very busy day for us. As you can see from this map, California is still having significant fire activity. As we've mentioned though in the past, what can you do? Be prepared. Make sure you have a wildfire action plan. Know what you're going to do, what you're going to take if you're evacuated. Be prepared ahead of time. You can always get more information at our website at readyforawildfire.org. Now, for the latest on these fires and even to look at this Google map, you can always check out our website at fire.ca.gov or follow us on Facebook and Twitter at cal_fire and at CAL FIRE on Facebook. Now, that's the latest on the fire situation here in California. I'm Daniel Berlant. Have a fire safe day and the rest of your fire safe week.